everyone. Welcome to Hope Talk Podcast. I am Hope Michelle, and you guys probably all know me from my Hope Talk Podcast on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple. But today we are starting a Hope Talk Podcast YouTube channel. And since this is being the very first episode, I had to have someone special here with me, my beautiful mom, Tammy Bay. And today I am working with the American Heart Association to bring awareness, action to heart disease. So, did you know that heart disease and stroke cause 1 in 3 deaths among women each year? Fortunately, we're able to change that and bring awareness and education to those who don't know anything about heart disease. Thanks to the American Heart Association and their campaign, Go Red for Women, we all now have a fighting chance in the fight against heart disease and start making healthy lifestyle changes. My mom is living with heart disease, but she does not let her diagnosis define her. As she says, God always has the final say. She is a survivor, and I am so proud to call her my mom. She is brave, she is fierce, and Mom, are you ready to tell your story?
I am ready.
All right, Mommy. So, walk us through that day.
Without crying?
You can cry. I'm right here. We'll cry together.
So, that day was like just a regular day. I was at work and I gone out to lunch with a colleague and came back, had a meeting, leading a meeting. So give you a time frame, it was around 1:00. It was a 1:00 meeting. And I'm cold usually, so I'm very cold all the time. And so I had my heater on underneath my desk. At around 1:20, I believe, I got really hot. Like I started sweating. So I turned my heater off, thinking that it was just the heat from the heater. So I was like, man, it's hot in here. So it was an October day, so it's the end of October. So, the weather could be kind of crazy. So I turned the heater off, but I was still sweating. Like I was crazy sweating. I started to sweat even more. And I was like, man, I'm so hot. Goodness gracious. So I went into the bathroom. And I went into the bathroom and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was just sweating. You could see the sweat pouring off of me. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so hot. So I went back to my desk and I asked my colleague, I said, hey, this person, I don't want to put her name out there if I didn't get a permission, but I asked her if she had any Tums because I thought, well, maybe it was something that I ate because I did eat something spicy for lunch. So she said, yeah, I got some Tums. So I was popping Tums like there was no tomorrow, like it was candy or something. So I go back to my desk and she was like, are you okay? And I was like, man, I am so hot. Like I could not cool off. So I'm have a piece of paper and I'm fanning myself. And so she says, well, do you want my fan? And I'm like, yeah, let me sit at your desk. And she had this desk fan. So I sat at her desk and I'm fanning myself and I'm like, I am so hot. I'm so hot. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I got extremely, extremely tired. When I say I got extremely tired, I was about to fall out on the floor. Like I could go to sleep right there. I was so exhausted all of a sudden. So she began talking to me and she said, maybe you should call your husband. And I was like, yeah, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I just need to cool off. I'll just need to cool off. And she said, no, I think you really should call your husband. So I went back to my desk and I was like, okay. So I started doing some stuff on my computer and I was like, I'll just call him later. Like, I'm not going to bother him. I'm just trying to cool off. So I'm fanning myself. And she came over to my desk and she was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I feel terrible. Like, I feel like really sick. And she was like, let me go get some help. Well, everybody was in a meeting because it was during the day. So like really no one would come over and help me. So she did get one of my other coworkers and he came over and he was like, Tammy, what's going on? And I kind of explained what was happening. And so he was like, well, maybe we should call 911. And I'm like, no, we're good. And my coworker was like, did you call your husband? Did you get a hold of your husband? And I was like, no, he was busy. And she was like, Tammy, I really think you should need to call your husband. Like, honestly, like try to call him back. And so I was like, she was like, if not, we're going to call 911 because you look terrible and something is going on and you don't look right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay. So I did. I text Beretta and I said, babe, in the text message, babe, what are you doing? Of course, he's like, text me back like I'm working. and I said, can I call? And he said, yes. So I called him and I, called him and I said, hey, babe. He's like, what's going on? I said, well, I'm having, and I told him my symptoms. I'm sweating. I don't feel good. I'm really tired. I got like the sharpness sensation in my under my arm, not sure what's going on. He was like, why are you at work and you're not, why are you at work? And I was like, well, I want you to come get me. And he was like, Tammy, I'm on the north side. And I was like, I know, just go get your car and come get me and take me to the hospital. Like, I was fine. Like, just please. And he was like, okay. So, he goes to get his car. So this is probably about an hour or so later. So mind you, this kind of happened. I started noticing something around 1:20. He probably came and got me around 2:30. Okay. So I come out with one of my coworkers and I get into the car and then I start crying because I made him go leave work. And he said, Tammy, why are you crying? And I said, because I made you leave work, babe. And he was like, what do you mean? Something's wrong with you. And I said, I know, but I didn't want you to leave work. And so, I was crying on my way to the hospital and he was talking to me through these symptoms and he was like, babe, just calm down. You'll be okay. And I was like, my head is hurting. And he was like, your head's hurting. And I was like, yeah, my head is hurting. So we get to the emergency room at AGH and we go in there and we had to check in and everything. And the nurse at the station was like, come get your information. They took me back to get my vitals and different things like that. They did do an echocardiogram at that moment, but nothing showed as far as a heart attack. So that is probably one of the reasons why they didn't think it was a heart attack, 'cause nothing really showed that I was having anything. So I go back and I'm waiting. All of a sudden, like my head, when I say my head was about to explode, my head felt like it was really, really about to explode. I then got really sick and I actually ended up vomiting. So I had to get a bag and that wasn't great. But I got really sick all of a sudden and my head was pounding like it was about to explode. I cannot say that enough. It was about to explode. Like it was hurting so bad. And so Beretta got really scared because a couple years prior to me in this episode of one of my best friends had an aneurysm. And so she was having bad headaches. And so with those headaches, Beretta was a little nervous that I could possibly have an aneurysm or something. So he kind of put me in the in the wheelchair and took me back and was like, look, someone needs to get her looked at because her head is something's wrong. And so they did. They had to clean a room and everything. We got into the room. Beretta called the kids, called my mom and dad. Everyone came to the hospital. Needless to say, we're in the hospital room. They're testing everything. I got an MRI. I got a, CT scan. I got x-rays. I got everything and nothing revealed a heart attack at that time. Although I was still having a really bad headache and I still was having a kind of tightness under my arm. So the doctors were going in, they were coming back, they tested for blood clots, they tested for everything underneath the sun that you could think of, but not really the heart attack because I really didn't have any signs showing that I was a heart attack. So about 3.5, 4 hours into this emergency room visit, they came back in and said, we're going to check your cardiac enzymes one more time. When they checked my cardiac enzymes, they said, your cardiac enzymes are elevated. We are going to admit you. Something is wrong with your heart. At that time, they admitted me. They put me on a Nitro drip because I was still having that sharp pain. So they thought it was something for the heart. The Nitro will help clear your arteries and kind of you let the blood keep flowing. It kind of helps with you when you're having a heart attack. It's like taking aspirin. So I stayed in the hospital overnight. Beretta stayed with me. The kids were there. They had all left. The next day, I was going to get, I can't remember what it's called at this moment, but it's when they put the dye in to see what's going on in your body. And then I was in the twilight, so I could hear what the doctors were saying, and I kind of remember a little bit of it. But I heard the doctors distinctly say, there's the culprit. And then the doctor came over to me and said, Miss Bay, we found the culprit. Your right coronary artery is 100% blocked. And we are going to put a stent in, and you'll be out of here in 25 minutes. So I come back. They put the stent in. I come back. And I come into the room, and my husband, Beretta, says, "Oh my goodness, Tammy, your color is back. I did not realize how gray you were." At the moment that he said that, I did not realize how close I came to not being here, how close I came to having a full-blown heart attack. So that is my story.
Whew, I remember getting the call, and I was in class. Like, I literally ran out of class. My sister called me and was like, Hope, don't freak out. And the moment she said that, I already knew something was wrong, because you never don't call me and say that, because I have anxiety. So I was already like, oh no, what's going on? And then she said it's about mommy. And I was like, mommy? I'm like, what? She said, mommy had a heart attack. Instantly, just dropped my phone and started crying. I called an Uber, and I went all the way from Calumet to Pittsburgh, because thinking of the thought of even losing my mom, it was just the scariest thing. And that's why I wanted to do this episode today, because this could have been your mom, or this could be your sister, or this could be your daughter. And it's important to know the signs, especially the silent heart attacks, the silent killers, that when you don't really know what's going on with your body. But to be honest, we all know what's going on with our bodies, and we need to be aware when something isn't right. So, Mom, that surgery they performed, it was an outpatient surgery, correct? You were able to get home?
So I was able to go home in 2 days. So I was admitted to the hospital on a Monday, and I went home on a Wednesday afternoon.
Nice. And leaving the hospital, I know you coming home, you had to pretty much change your entire lifestyle, from food to the medication. Just how did that all affect you coming home? Was it hard for you to transition?
Um, it wasn't hard for me to transition because because I played professional football. I was a wide receiver, as you know, for 6.5, 7 years. And so because I already kind of ate healthy and I already worked out, it really wasn't a hard transition. The transition that was hard was knowing that I almost had a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought of what would I have done if I was not at work? If I was at home, I probably wouldn't be here, because I probably would have laid down and said I'm tired and laid down, and I might not have woken up.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have been here by myself, because obviously my husband was at work, Taylor was at school, and no one was here. So the transition that was hard for me is, why was I so stubborn? Why didn't I know the signs? What were those signs that I missed? And how can I move forward? And that was the transition for me, is how can I move forward knowing that this was something that I had to live with for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Mommy, you're a true testament. So having a good support system is probably one of the best things for you. It probably is the reason that just keeps you going, keeps your drive. What is your support system like, and how does that go hand in hand with your recovery process?
My support system is amazing. Besides family and friends, my sisters, sisters by another mother, I would say, I could not have gotten through the recovery without my friends and without my sisters and without my sisters in Christ, without prayers, just people being there. For me, it was a very hard recovery because getting a stent put in, it took a lot out of me where I was very active. I had no strength. Like it was amazing because when I went to cardiac rehab, it took me a couple weeks to really get back to running because I had no strength. I was not able to get there. And I don't know if it was like an emotional along with physical, that kind of, I know there's people that get stents in and they're like up and moving and, you know, at the, at places like in a couple days. Where me, I was like resting. My doctor was like, I want you to rest. I want you to take off work. Like, I want you to really take your time to recover. And so that's what I did. I listened to the doctor. I took time to recover. I went to cardiac rehab for 8.5 weeks. I made sure that I did what I needed to do to for what the doctor wanted me to do, so that I could recover and be back to, you know, Tammy.
Awesome. Come on. So what does living with heart disease mean to you?
Living with heart disease is not the end. It's just the beginning. It's beginning of living a healthy lifestyle. It's being aware of what you're putting into your body and being aware of what you do and cherishing your moments with your family and your friends. It's what you do every single day. Cherish those little moments, live healthy, make sure you're eating the right things. You don't have to crazy drastically change your diet, but you do have to watch the salt intake. There are so many different things out there that you could do, that you could still eat good food. You're just being mindful of how you're cooking your food, what you're putting in your food, and what you're putting into your body.
Well said. And mommy, finally, as a survivor, in your words, how has the campaign Go Red for Women helped you and benefited you through your journey?
Through my journey, the American Heart Association is amazing because they're the ones who provide the money for heart victims, stroke victims to get a stent. They're the ones who provide the money for the research that goes into, heart researching for heart disease and stroke. They're the ones who put these campaigns out there that, get people help and have that support. They are there for support. And I think the Go Red Women campaign is so important because they provide you the resources, they provide you the support that you need to get through your recovery. And for me, I couldn't have done it without the American Heart Association. And that's why this campaign is so important to me, because together we can change lives. Together we can impact 1 in 3 women who have a heart attack. We can prevent women in Black communities and African American communities of helping them to be aware of signs of a heart attack. what that looks like. We together can change. We together can change someone's life. We can save someone's life, I should say.
Yes, awareness is critical. And like my mom always says, choose joy on your journey.
Choose joy.
Please help my mom continue to make an impact. Her donation link will be in my bio below. Mom, is there any closing remarks that you would like to say? Anything about the campaign that you would like to add?
Sure. I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening and hearing my story. We all have family. We all have mothers, sisters. We all have fathers. I mean, this isn't an old person's disease. We should say, right? This affects everybody. Heart disease is not something that you think is going to happen to someone older. It's happening to younger and younger people every single day. And the awareness has gone down. So we need to bring awareness to heart disease. Know your numbers, know signs, check the American Heart Association website. There's so much material out there that will give you the information that you need. Know your numbers, know the signs of what a heart attack is. It's different for men and it's different for women. And if something is wrong, do not wait. Do not say, I'm going to be okay. Go to the doctors. Get checked out. It's better to be safe than to be sorry. It's better to be safe than not be here at all. So please, 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 please be aware, live healthy, choose joy every day in all circumstances.
Yes.
Smile, eat healthy, and
you're good.
remember, God goals, growth, and grind
Hey.
all the time. So I just thank you, Hope, for having me,
Of course.
baby girl.
Of course, mommy.
And I hope that you all support me in this campaign. Even if you cannot donate, please share the story, share the American Heart Association, encourage your loved ones to get their numbers checked, encourage your loved ones to eat healthy.
Hey, well said. So thank you guys so much for tuning in with me and hearing my mom's story. Thank you, mommy, for being brave and strong enough to share your story with everybody. And I hope we were able to shed a light and bring more awareness to heart disease. It's never too late to take control of your life. I am Hope Michelle, and this is Hope Talk.